Hello! After a long and somewhat unnecessary lockdown-inspired break, I am pleased to welcome you back to That Buzzing Sound Radio. Today's episode marks the start of Spotlight Series 2, which really feels like a fresh beginning for this podcast. And I hope you join me for another block of interviews that will be featuring a host of new artists and their buzzing voices. Maybe some rants in between too. We'll see. Kicking off this new series is UK, Bristol-based indie punk rock singer-songwriter Macatier, who is mere days away from releasing his debut record entitled Native Noise to the world this Friday. The passionate project channels his hard-rocking musical soul through acoustic strings, hard-hitting drums, and minimal instrumentations, to produce heartfelt, powerful, personal lyrical anthems which captures relatable feelings and even some of our deep insecurities. It's the kind of rough, hard-hitting sonic edges I love from my indie punk rock. We chatted all about his process, the background of Native Noise, life in this new isolated age, Bristol's uniqueness, life-affirming travel, and food, and how this episode's charity goal, the Great Ormond Street Hospital in London, left a special spot in his heart. I hope you enjoy, for this is my conversation with Macatier. So how you doing this morning?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Yeah, not too bad. It's evening for me.
It's actually the afternoon.
Yeah, it's 6:15.
Yeah. So your day's been good?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks. Yeah, usual stuff. I've got a live stream within the next couple of days, so I'm just kind of doing a bit of prep for that as well.
Have you done one before, or is it?
No, yeah, first ever live stream.
Are you kind of nervous about it?
Yeah, I am. I don't really know quite what to expect, because obviously when you play live, like, you have the audience you can feed back from, but you're literally just looking into a laptop screen for a live stream. So yeah, I don't really know what to expect, but I'm quite excited about it because it's something new I haven't done before. Is
it a nice way to get to like engage with your fans? Are you going to have the live chat open as you're going, or is it just going to be?
I'll try. So I'm doing it via a third party, so an organisation that does live music in Bristol where I live. It's all going through their Facebook channel. So I don't quite know the setup of that at the moment, but I'll just have to wait and see, really.
Oh, that's awesome. But yeah, how are you excited? Are you with only a few more days to release of your debut record after dropping a couple EPs or 4 EPs so far? How does it feel to have the first one fully done? What kind of feelings are going around right now?
So when I've always wanted to release an album. EPs are a lot easier to record and produce because you're only dealing with 4 or 5 songs and you can get them out quicker. It was just something I've always wanted to do because I kind of feel like it's a bit of a milestone. And so I recorded it. I've recorded some of these songs on and off over the past. It's about 2 years really in the making, where I wrote one of the songs and been recording sort of on and off. And then when lockdown started, I realized I had quite a lot of time to dedicate to this. So I just sort of got my head down and did kind of finished off all the recording as much as I could, and it just kind of went from there, really. So yeah, but I'm excited to get it out. I'm definitely excited to get it out. There's one song on there that I actually wrote in 2011, so a long time ago. It's actually the opener of the album. It was something that I wrote all the way back then. But I re-recorded it for the new album just because I wanted to give it a fresher sound, and I'm really pleased with how it's turned out, because previously it was always just it featured on my first EP, but I wasn't massively keen on just the tone of it, really. So I'm quite glad with it this time.
So you enjoyed listening to it with new ears, that you've had this mountain of experience since then.
Yeah.
It came out really great, and it also kind of like sets up your new theme of the record of changing from acoustic and indie rock, indie punk to more of a like full instrumentation, like, because that's what you've. How was that evolution? Because
that's exactly it. So the first few EPs were purely just acoustic guitar and nothing else. I don't even think there was that much bass guitar on it. So yeah, this is the first sort of record I've dedicated to it actually being almost like a live band performance. And again, it was something that I always aspired to my sound to go more in that direction. I grew up playing drums originally. So I started playing drums before I played guitar. So I'm kind of just as much a drummer than a guitarist, really. And I've always wanted to include that in my recording. So I'm really glad that I could actually do it this time. So yeah, that's cool, because I kind of find it expands the sound a lot more. Just makes the song sound bigger, and it definitely feels like the right direction to go in. Sort of moving away from that strictly stripped back acoustic sound.
Do you have a new perspective about this project after working through it and adding a little bit of that flair?
Yeah, so I suppose I know so many musicians say this, but I do want every release I do to sound different. So rather than just rewriting the same sort of music, and I feel that this is the style of music I've done here. That's sort of like punky indie rock, really. I still want to retain those elements in like my next EP or album or wherever it may be, but I definitely want to just push the sounds a bit more, really, and always evolve, really, as a musician, and try and make that constantly try and make my sound interesting, rather than it getting stale pretty quickly.
Did you hold on to any musical influences as you were trying to project your vision out? Like, was there something that you were just trying to hold on to, or like, I wanted to sound like this?
I suppose I focus a lot more on the lyrics in this album, as opposed to just the melody. So coming from some of my musical influences has always kind of started, young with like bands like Blink, and grew up with sort of Manchester Orchestra and sort of more indie rock bands. But over the past year, I've been reading a lot of Charles Bukowski books, and I really like the kind of his writing style and the topics he writes about. And one of the songs on the album is called Henry Chinaski, which is a character in the Charles Bukowski books. And I sort of wrote that song around all these books I'd been reading. So I suppose rather than it's almost just like not all my influences now just come from my favorite bands. It's also my favorite books. So kind of try and broaden the influences a bit more.
Yeah, I especially like that track, World Cup Summer. I really dug. Is it strange releasing music in this current environment with no like option of touring? Because I know you come from a touring background and you've done countless gigs over the past decade, near decade. Is it kind of weird right now?
Yeah, it's odd. When I started playing music, like it was all about the gigs, all about playing live as much as possible. And it's really weird promoting an album when you can't get up on a stage and you can't play in front of anyone. It is odd, and I guess every single musician is in my position, really. So you kind of try to make the best of it. But it also, it opens up other doors. It's like the whole live streaming stuff was never really a massive thing before. But obviously, if you want to watch a musician you like play, you can't really go down to your local venue. You have to just log into a live stream. So that's cool. It's kind of pushing the technology that we're using. But yeah, it's definitely weird, and I think in future it would be nice to get back to playing gigs when you're trying to promote an album, though. Definitely.
Yeah, I miss going to the shows every couple weeks. Even though as I've gotten older, it's been a lot harder to go out because of the family and the personal stuff. But it's hard not to miss the energy of that feeling of being in that dark room, just vibing out.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like, do you really miss going out every couple nights and checking out a new band or checking out some friends?
Yeah, Bristol's great for live music. You can be in pretty much any bar, and there's always a band playing, and we're quite lucky. We get quite big bands playing as well in our venues. So yeah, that's something that during lockdown is kind of a bit of a shame to miss out on is all the live music, really. I mean, yeah, you can easily go out every single night of the week to a different gig around Bristol. There's a gig goer called Big Jeff in Bristol. He's a bit of like a local legend on the music scene, and essentially he goes to a different gig every single night and has been for years. And it's one of those things that if he's at your gig, that means things are going pretty good, because he's just a guy who just loves live music, and he's just become a local legend.
Yeah, we have a guy like that here in Hollywood, but for the most part, we mostly joke because he just comes to shows and he just dances, and you can usually tell like if it's going to be a fun night is when you see him in the pit and he just starts wiling out, and you're like, yep, I picked the right spot for the night.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah. Big Jeff he's often, if it's like a rock band, he'll just headbang right at the front. He's always right at the barrier, and he's this big guy with big hair, and you can't miss him. And yeah, as you say, like oh yeah, if you're in the same room as him, like okay, cool, we're watching a good band, or we've made a right choice.
Yes, and that's always good because you never want to walk into a bar and just go, "There's no one here, but I like the sounds going on. I guess I'll grab a drink and listen to a few, and then I'll bounce out."
Yeah.
What were some of the challenges for you with this project? Because again, you've been writing it for a couple of years. Can you talk about some of the growth that occurred?
Yeah. So when I began it, I never didn't set out to record an album. When I first started recording the songs, it more just came together, and then I realized I was going through all my Logic files, and I realized I had enough for an album, and I thought, I'll just push it a bit more really, and I'll kind of try and maybe make some changes to the lyrics or some of the structures to make the songs sort of flow with each other, so it doesn't sound so separate. Every song doesn't sound so separate. But I hadn't released anything really since 2017, so it was more of just kind of just getting back on the horse really, and it was just really good to kind of be in the songwriting mind frame again and recording. And I for better or worse, I produce all my own music as well, so it's sort of solely just me in a room, and then I'll mix it, so that it's sort of thing that it can take quite a long time to get a whole album done really. But yeah, it was definitely an interesting experience, because as I say, like during I was working on it towards I was working on the tail end of the album at the beginning of lockdown as well, which was also good in some respects. It gave me the time and space that I needed to actually just completely focus on it.
Yeah, I've gotten a lot of stuff done during this wonderful 3 months of lockdown, because it's been a lot worse over in the UK than it has over here in LA. It's like we're out, but I've heard that like you guys have literally just been locked down, doing much.
Yeah, we had. It's getting better now. They've relaxed the rules, but for kind of March, April, May, really, you were allowed out for I think 30 minutes a day for exercise, and that was it. And then you could go to the supermarket to get food, but that was it. You really couldn't do anything. And at one point, you weren't allowed to really drive anywhere. I heard kind of stories about the police sort of pulling people over and asking where they were going in their car. So yeah, it was quite an intense lockdown, really. I think a lot of Europe has had that, really.
And you like to travel, because I watched that video that you just posted on YouTube of your 2015 3-month adventure in North America. And I'm sure there's like this itch to go and travel and move and not be stuck in a house as much, right?
Yeah, it was just a bit of fun, really. I kind of just thought, because I had this. So I went backpacking around the States in 2015, and I had a little GoPro with me, so I recorded loads of the journey. And then again, that was actually during lockdown, where I was viewing all the footage. I had probably hours of footage, and I thought, oh, you know what, I'm gonna put it all together and kind of do like a little montage with put music over it, and it was just like a bit of fun, really, that I worked on. Then at the end of it, I thought, I'll just put it up on YouTube, really, as it was like a little mini documentary, I suppose, of my time doing it.
Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic, especially like all the places, like you hit like every single hotspot.
Whereabouts in LA are you?
It's like a little suburb outside of Los Angeles, but I used to work in Hollywood all the time, so like it would just be like a 30-minute drive into town. Did you come just to the city of LA, or did you guys because you guys went a lot of spots?
Yes, so in California. So when we did the West Coast, we started the West Coast actually in Alaska, and then we flew down to Vancouver, and then I went to Portland because I was traveling with a friend, and my friend went to Seattle, and then we met up in San Francisco. And then I have a family friend who I grew up with. He lives in Ventura.
I have family up there.
Oh, do you? Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, it's really, really nice place. So yeah, we stayed at his for probably about 4 or 5 days, and we went into, and because he obviously knew the area really well. We drove into LA a couple of times. Sort of went, kind of all the hot spots and the Santa Monica and all that. So yeah, that was cool. Then we went down to San Diego after.
was it exhausting? Because I did something similar like that in Europe, where I like started in London, we went all the way down to Greece and Italy, and then
Oh.
up. How was it? Was it just like life fulfilling, or was it just like did you hit that point of exhaustion about halfway through?
Yeah, so really, so we started on the East Coast. We started in Boston, went down to New York, spent a week and a half in around Philadelphia, and driving up around New York State. We basically did a road trip. So we essentially did a big horseshoe, and then after California, we went to the South and we did Louisiana, and kind of ended up in DC. It was a bucket list thing, 100%. So a friend I went to university with, we talked about doing it for years, and then eventually we got a bunch of money together and quit our jobs and just packed our bags and went, really. But it was something that we'd been planning for a while, and we really wanted to do it. So it was definitely like a life fulfilling thing to do.
It's so cool. Like, even I haven't hit a lot of those places. Like, I still haven't hit San Antonio. I still haven't hit Boston. So did you get a lot of inspiration about your music, or was it just like a nice turn off the brain and just enjoy the moment type thing?
Yeah, well, so it was originally just to completely turn off the brain, everything, work, music, not, it was completely isolated from it. It was just traveling and doing this thing I always wanted to do. But actually, there are a couple of songs on the album that refer to it. One song, Consigliere, which is possibly going to be the next single. That's about that trip. So that's about traveling around with friends. And seeing the world. Yeah, so it did actually end up influencing my music, that trip.
I do have to ask, what was your favorite food? Like, what was the best spot for food that you had?
So I really liked Philly cheesesteaks. So we were staying in a hostel that was it's not, because there's Pat's and Geno's, isn't there, in Philly?
And then there's the third one.
Yeah, we were opposite this place called Sonny's, which was really nice. But there's also a place called Nito Burrito in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, just a random place. We would just drive. We were doing a bit of a road trip after our time in Philadelphia, and we stopped by this. We were just staying overnight, and I think it was Harrisburg, and they basically just had several chains of Nito Burrito, which is this random but kind of burrito chain that is only in Harrisburg, or only in that part of Philadelphia, that part of Pennsylvania. So that was really cool. That was definitely good. I'm a big fan of Mexican food, so that was cool. Obviously the Mexican food in LA, Southern California, is pretty amazing as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and when it comes to cheesesteaks, I'm a Geno's guy.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, that's going to polarize a lot of people listening, but I am. So what's left on the travel bucket list? Like, have you done all of Europe? Have you done Australia yet?
No, I haven't done Australia. I really want to do Australia, and I'd like to do some of Vietnam, Cambodia, sort of eastern, that part of Asia, really. I'd like to do. Europe is one of these things that I guess it's like yourself with America, because it's on your doorstep. You don't really think to do it all that much. So I've been to Germany and like a few places, but I haven't been to Italy, which kind of everyone's saying you have to go to Italy. Sort of, yeah. So I guess more of Europe I should explore, really.
There's still parts of me that's like, I'm close to South America, but part of me doesn't want to go to South America.
Yeah. It's like the novelty isn't there.
Yeah. Is there a good food spot in Bristol that you love? Again, I love food, and I apologize that we're slowly running away from the music.
Yeah. Going back to the whole Mexican food. There's actually a burrito place called I can't believe I've forgotten it. Mission Burrito, which is really cool. That does some really good food. There's loads of places on this road called Gloucester Road, which is just basically made up of loads of independent pubs and restaurants and businesses and stuff like that. So there's always good stuff to eat down there as well.
Yeah, I gotta check it out next time I'm in the UK.
Yeah, definitely come to Bristol, man.
Yeah, I've only been to London, and I still didn't get up to Abbey Road yet. Like, I still haven't, like, there's so much stuff I have to. And you're from Surrey, though, right?
Yeah, so I grew up just outside London, which is a really nice town. But then I went to about 2010. I moved to Bristol. So I was here for university, but then I ended up just staying really because a lot of people after university gravitate towards London. But I love the music scene here. Just think it's just a great city to be in. There's so much culture and so much art. I really didn't see any incentive to leave, so I've basically just pretty much been here ever since. Really,
it seems like the type of spot that I would totally want to be at too. So I don't blame you.
Yeah, it's definitely worth a visit.
Yeah, I can't wait. And whenever this whole craziness subsides, we'll get back to that fun part. Like again, did I ask you? Was this record therapeutic for you in any way?
Well, I guess in terms of getting these songs out of that, there's some of these songs I've been sitting on for a while. So it was nice to write some more lyrics, and to do some rewrites. And it was something that, as I say, it was something that I'd always really wanted to do, was to write and record an album. So it did, definitely felt like I'd achieved that goal. So I guess just remains to be seen if people actually like it.
I think they will. Again, I really enjoyed my time. I really got like a Frank Turner type vibe from the acoustic stuff, and then I got the post-punk rock London sound from the others, and I enjoyed my time with it.
Yeah, it's interesting you say about Frank Turner, because I don't listen to Frank Turner at all, really. I don't, I have absolutely no issue with his music. I think it's good music, but because a lot of people say, oh, it sounds like, you're heavily influenced by Frank Turner, but it's weird because it's really not the case. I can only name like one or two of his songs.
Yeah, I don't think it's not a fact of like the stylistic comparisons are the same. I feel like you're very honest with your music and it comes from a very like personal place, and that's the kind of vibe I get from Frank. And like it's just like this energy, like you're just like shouting at the top of your lungs, just like letting everything out, putting it out. And that's where I kind of see the comparison when you are still coming from this really personal place, which really gauged me while listening.
Yeah, that does. And I suppose actually, it does make a lot of sense in that because he came from like quite a punky background as well, because he was in Million Deads, which were quite like a punk rock band, and then I guess he just went acoustic. So essentially, his influences were kind of punk rock bands, but he's now playing acoustic, which I guess is to some extent is the same sort of background I've had, really, in that a lot of my influences are much heavier than an acoustic guitar.
But do you ever foresee having like a background band to assist you, or is it?
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't rule it out. As I say, like I think you definitely get a better sound when it's with a live band. I do feel that. I'm in a band at the moment. It's kind of like more just like kind of doing it on the side, which is like a garage rock band that.
Oh, that's cool.
And I really enjoy sort of feeding off the energy of
the other.
Other musicians and a drummer and a bassist. Yeah, definitely. But also, I quite like the fact that this sounds. I guess it sounds quite narcissistic. I don't know if narcissism is the right word, but I like the fact it's just me, and I don't have to worry about anyone else's influence. I can just, if it's what I want, it's what I can do, and that's. And again, whether that's a positive thing or a negative thing, I haven't quite figured out yet. But I like the individuality of it, and the fact that I can just get it done myself. Really, I really enjoy that aspect of it.
I think it's completely positive, and again, it connects with people, and you can absolutely feel it when you listen to the music.
I'm glad you think that, man.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about the Great Ormond Street Hospital, the charity that you would like to promote.
Yeah. So Great Ormond Street is it's a children's hospital in central London. It's been going for a long time, and basically, it's essentially it takes care of sick kids. And I was there when I was 11. I had a virus, and they took care of me, and it was obviously difficult time, but I was 11, so kind of didn't quite understand the magnitude of being in a children's hospital. But I always try and promote them, and they're kind of a charity that I kind of does have quite a close place to my heart.
Wonderful. Is there anything else, like we're nearing the end of the interview, is there anything you would like to bring up, anything you would like to let the listener or the audience know?
The new album will be out on Spotify on the 31st of July. It's sort of got an indie punk feel to it. So if that's the sort of thing you're into, then yeah, it'd be great if you checked it out. And I hope you enjoy it.
Wonderful. And is there going to be another album down the line? Have you started thinking about that? Or you just want to get this one out of the way?
Well, yeah, I think I need to get this one out of my system first. But I think there will be something. I don't know when, but I don't intend for this to be my last.
The virus won't stop you, as a lot of people have been saying, regardless of the world, how the world changes.
Yeah, exactly. Even if I need to repeat the process of sort of promoting it all online from at home, like need be, really. When you write something and you're really pleased with it, you don't want to kind of just sit on it for indefinitely until the world goes back to normal, because we don't know what that looks like. So I think it's just, kind of just getting your voice out, really, and just trying to enjoy doing it at the same time.
This episode of That Buzzin' Sound was recorded and edited using a variety of free applications like Audacity and Discord, and is available on such streaming platforms as Spotify, Apple Music, while being fully hosted on Anchor FM.